Your eyes on the prize, hold on.
I stayed up all night trying to make a speech to introduce this man. No, 3 minutes ago they asked me if I'd introduce him because he's really a person who needs no introduction. But a minute before that, I'd like to say it's good to be back in this place, the place of the longleaf pine and the good peaches, the best peaches in the world. A place where these Scots came in here and somebody planted some peach trees and put up a dam down here at Aberdeen and made the most beautiful lake around. And they made a college called Flora MacDonald and St. Andrews, and it's good to be in this part of the world one more time. And now it's my happy privilege to present to you the man that I think God has raised up for this time and this place, the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber.
What's up, Moore County? Are there any other counties here? Would you just shout out your name? What county? Richmond County. What county? Are there any North Carolinians here? The governor said you all were outsiders. Are there any insiders here? It's good to see all of you on today. Dr. Tyson said, I got up here, I can get down by myself. Let's give it up for Vernon Tyson, one of the great elders in our midst. And we thank him for being here. And our president, Olinda, let's give it up for Olinda here. And she's going to be coming back in a moment at the end. Sisters, don't leave, because she's going to talk some about women's rights. And we're going to talk about what we have to do, as Tim Tyson said, beyond just coming on Monday, because we cannot wait until next year to get ready for next year. We have to make that quilt right now. Today, I want to take some moments to give reasons why we gather for Moral Monday. And I'm glad the media is here, not to see me, but to be clear. To be clear. And why the NAACP and the Forward Together movement and the historic Thousand on Jones Street Coalition that we've been building for 7 years, and I see Reverend Gatewood back there that's been working with us and so many others, this is not new coalition building. Amen.
Coalition building is as old as God building a coalition between the sun and the moon and the stars and the night. As old as the NAACP in 104 years, when it was white and black people, Jews and Christians and Gentiles who came together to fix the brokenness of the nation. We stand on some tremendous history and great shoulders. But I want to be clear about why we're here and why you see this diversity. I want to answer the question today to those that may wonder why nearly 1,000 North Carolina citizens of all races and creeds and colors and backgrounds, rather than give up their constitutional right to assemble in their state house, our state house, submitted themselves to arrest and civil disobedience, protesting the actions of this legislature and this governor. I want to talk about why thousands upon thousands have come out in Raleigh, and why thousands from Asheville to Mitchell County, from Charlotte to Greensboro, from Boone to Lincolnton, from Pitt County to Wilmington, from Manio to Moore County. Our Constitution of these United States begins with this principle. It's not a democratic principle or a Republican principle. It says we the people.
That's right.
Of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice.
Yes.
That's a principle that gathers us here, the need, the desire to establish justice. And within the pages of that Constitution, we have the right to protest, voting rights, and equal protection under the law. And these principles are bigger than any political party, bigger than
been liberal versus Democrat. These are moral and constitutional principles upon which this nation was founded. That's why we gather. 145 years ago, black people and white people had to make a decision in North Carolina, in fact all over the South. How would we live together after the ugly vestiges of slavery? They came together, black and white. They met in the old state house, and they decided that they had the right language that would give them the kind of discourse to move forward from the divisions of slavery. And so they wrote, "We the people of the state of North Carolina, grateful to Almighty God, the sovereign ruler of nations, for the preservation of the American Union and the existence of our civil, political, and religious liberties. We do ordain and establish this Constitution," and right up front, Section 1, Article 1, they said, "We hold it to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, the enjoyment of the fruit of your own labor, and the pursuit of happiness." They went on to say that all political power, this is the Constitution that every legislature swears to uphold, every governor swears to uphold, not Republican governor, not Democratic governor, but every governor that gets in office by vote of the people swears to uphold this principle. All political power, somebody say all. Not some, somebody say all. All political power is vested in and derived from the people, and all government of right originates from the people and is founded upon their will and instituted solely for the good of the whole. Not the good of lobbyists, not the good of our pope, not the good of a particular party, but the principle that is supposed to govern us is the good of the whole. And that's been around since 1868. And also in our state constitution, 145 years, they guaranteed voting rights. They guaranteed public education. They guaranteed the right to equal protection in 1868, 100 years before the Civil Rights Movement. And those principles are bigger than any political power or party. And when politicians swear to uphold these principles, they swear on the Bible. And I'm so tired of people talking about morality and what's in the Bible and they don't read half of it. If a politician is going to put their hand on the Bible and swear to uphold the Constitution, they ought to know what's in that Bible. The major things in that Bible are not about private morality. It's not about the limited things of prayer in the school and abortion and sexuality. Those things may have a place, but that's between you, your God, your priest, your rabbi. But there are some things that speak to those who would dare hold political power and who would dare make laws that impact the lives of people. You ought to read it sometime. In that Bible that they swear to uphold, it says, "Let justice roll down like water, and righteousness like a mighty stream." In that Bible it says the Lord requires that we do justice and love mercy and walk humbly before our God. In that Bible, Isaiah 10, it says, "Woe unto those that make unjust laws and rob the poor of their rights." In that Bible, in Isaiah 58, there is a clear call to politicians. It says, "This is the kind of fast day that I'm after. Break the chains of injustice. Get rid of exploitation in the workplace. Free the oppressed. Cancel debts. Share your food with the hungry. Invite the homeless. Put clothes on the naked. And help the families. And then if you do that, the Lord will hear your prayers." In that Bible. I'm ready to have a book discussion in that Bible. You want to have a moral debate, bring it on, bring it on. Because in that Bible you swear to uphold, it says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." In that Bible it asks everybody that would dare wield power, "When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, did you give me drink? When I was naked, did you clothe me?" And these principles are bigger than Republican and Democrat and liberal versus conservative. These principles are what is about right and what is about wrong. And that, my friends, is the message of Moral Monday. Some things are simply about what's right and wrong. And we believe that public policy decisions, we want a moral discussion. Because we believe that public policy decisions of our elected officials must be critiqued on these high principles of our Constitution and our deepest religious writings. Now, there are those who want to limit it, but we say no. In fact, as I said, the personal issues of your life are between you, your God, and your priest, and your pastor, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But in the public square, in the public arena, elected officers, how you use your power. Touch your neighbor and say, you better tell every politician. How you use your power to affect the lives of others are moral and constitutional issues. And within that framework, budgets are moral issues. Education is a moral issue. Healthcare is a moral issue. Voting rights is a moral issue. How you have fairness in the criminal justice system, that's a moral issue. How you treat the environment is a moral issue. Because the book says the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So this movement looks at how public officials are using their power. And I stopped by today to give you a report card. Not from some place of arrogance, but deep humility. I would rather not be critiquing my state. I would rather not be talking about how people are using their power. I have no personal anger or dislike for McCory or Tillis or Berger or Pope. They are my brothers and in the human family, and they're yours as well.
Yes, they are.
And we would hope that all people, regardless of their political persuasion, when they get in office, they would be statesmen and stateswomen, and they would do what is best for the good of the whole, and they would do no harm. They would use their power for something more noble than partisan trickery.
Like it is.
But when you examine it, this legislature led by Tillis and Berger, sanctioned by and supported by Governor McCory, and supported lock, stock, and barrel by your legislators, James Boyle and Alan McNeil, and Jerry Tillman. You look at the report cards, all of them received a 0 on the critical issues that affect the lives, not of black children, not of white children, not of black people, not of white people, but of all people in this state. They have fallen willfully short of our constitutional values. Tim, in 180 years, 80 days, they have steered our ship of state in an extreme and immoral direction that has the potential of a political shipwreck, which is why a new wind of protest is blowing across this state. We are determined to redirect the ship of state here in North Carolina. It, my friends, is extreme. It's not just bad policy. It's extreme and immoral in a state with the 5th highest unemployment and 1.6 million poor people and 600,000 poor children and many thousand working poor, and most of them white women and rural. It's extreme and immoral for you to use your power to cut 170,000 people's unemployment benefits. That doesn't line up with our deepest values. It's extreme and immoral to take 500,000 people's opportunity for health care under the Affordable Health Care Act just because you have the power to do so. It's extreme. It's extreme and immoral to raise taxes on 907,000 low-wage workers by ending earned income tax credit just so you can give 23 of the wealthiest family a tax break. That's just wrong. I thought the governor had gotten it right when he said he was vetoing the tests for poor people to get certain help. He said that, you know, the drug test that Tillerson then pushed through in order for poor people to get assistance. But then in the paper he said really the reason he did it was because they didn't give him enough money to implement it. So it wasn't really a change of heart. I thought it was a change of heart because it's immoral, it's extreme to kick a man when he's down. It's immoral and an extreme to say you're going to force poor people to get drug tested before they receive government money. You don't drug test legislators. You don't drug test the governor. And in light of some of this policy, somebody needs a test. Because somebody is drunk on Tea Party tea, and somebody's been sniffing coke, K-O-C-H, fresh from the Koch brothers in New York. Somebody needs a test. It's immoral and extreme when 80% of North Carolinians' taxes are going up, while the average millionaire from this budget will get a $10,000 tax cut. It's immoral and extreme. Now, I'm from the country. I know you more kind of folk think y'all from the city. But I'm from the country. You know, even when we used to do carpentry, you didn't pay a first year assistant to the apprentice to the head carpenter the same thing you pay the carpenter, the general contractor. But the way this governor says is you cut 5,000 teacher jobs. You cut them out of the budget, but then you give $1,000 raises, thousands of dollar raises to your new unexperienced staffers that are still wet behind their ears and only have their position because of political patriotism, not because they have the experience to do the job. That's extreme. It's immoral when you cut 4,580 teachers assistants and you drive North Carolina to 50th in the nation in per pupil spending and in teacher salaries. And then on top of that, you take $10 million of public school money and give it and reroute it to private schools that have no standards and no guarantees against resegregation. And then after you've done all of that, touch your neighbors, and after you've done all of that, then you get scared that the people might wake up. And so then you want to change the voting so that the people can't grade you properly at the voting pool. But you lie. You say it's about voter ID when you know this bill is not about voter ID. That's only part of it. 360,000 North Carolinians don't have the kind of voter ID these folk want. We've been voting in this state for 237 years. Never needed an ID. But all of a sudden, when black folk and white folk and Latino folks start voting together, might as well tell the truth. When the solid South starts breaking up, when North Carolina votes for a black man named Obama that was born to a white woman from Kansas and a black man from Kenya, then all of a sudden somebody's cheated. And you know 67% of those sisters that don't have the vote ID are women. You know that law is worse than Alabama, worse than South Carolina? Do you know the lead plaintiff, Ms. Rosanelle Eaton, 94-year-old, under this current law, she's been voting ever since Jim Crow. She had to recite the preamble to the Constitution to a poll worker that couldn't read it themselves. But she will not be able to vote under this law. She's registered 5,000 people to vote. She wouldn't be able to register to vote under this new law. Do you know that they cut back same-day registration? Cut parts off of early voting? Even though 56% of North Carolinians used it. You know that they increased the contribution limits that private donors can give the candidate so that the people who want to use their money to control the system can have more influence? Public financing is now dead. Judicial candidates can now get paid anything. That means people can buy the courts. And they cut money for indigent services for poor people in the court system. I could go on, but the point is, these actions, when you look at our Constitution and look at our deepest religious principles, they are immoral, they are extreme, they are constitutionally inconsistent, they are morally indefensible, and they are economically insane. North Carolina can do better. North Carolina must do better. North Carolina has to do better. And this is why we must have a new language. A language that says we don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. If you want to do right, come on in. We don't care if you're black or white, Latino. If you want to do right, come on in. We don't care if you're from a rural area or urban area. If you believe in the deep values of the Constitution and you believe in treating folk right and you believe in the moral principles of justice, come on in. I dare you to touch 3 people and tell them, come on in. Come on in. It's time. Tell them, come on in. If you want to challenge the lies. Now, a reporter the other day in one of the major newspapers wrote a piece called The 10 Myths. The 10 Myths that people are using in North Carolina to get in office. And he's no liberal reporter by a long shot. Now, I told y'all I'm from the country. He called them myths. I call them lies. So now, I was raised by grandmama. You didn't, go in and tell my grandmama. She said, did you break my bowl on my table? And you say, well, that's a myth. She said, no. You not telling me you didn't break it is a lie. He says, here are 10 lies. Number 1, that North Carolina's public schools are failing its children. Yeah. When politicians say that and then use that as an excuse to cut public education and deconstruct, that's a lie. North Carolina's, number 2, North Carolina state government was in financial mess until the recent party came in office. That's a lie. It's a myth. According to all of the records, even according to the Wall Street Journal, which is no liberal publication. Number 3, until recently, the state government was on a spending spree. That's not true. That's a lie. The conservative-leaning Tax Foundation said that North Carolina state government was not among the top in terms of spending. Myth number 4, spending on public education is at an all-time high. That's not true. In fact, what McCrory actually put in the budget may be a little more in dollars, but in terms of the growth of the public school system is less than what we needed even last year. I've heard that. North Carolina was a high-tax state before the recent cuts. That's not true. That's not true. The article is there. Number 6, North Carolina's high schools have a dropout problem. We do have some dropout issues. Yeah. We do. But the way they frame it is not true. North Carolina was no longer an attractive state because of high taxes. Not true. This writer says, according to the moving company's 2012 United Van Lines migration study found that North Carolina was the 4th highest destination. So when they stand up and say people are not coming here because of high taxes, first of all, taxes not high. No, that's the story. And number 2, people don't come based on taxes. They come based on education. They come based on infrastructure. They come based on roads. They come based on a government that is forward-looking and not a governor and a legislature that wants to go back to the 1960s. That's what draws people in. And they go on with the myth. So when Governor McCrory, Tillisberger, and your legislators and Art Pope tell the people that these stories to get into office, there must be a movement, not based on party, but based on principle, that says objection. Objection. Yeah. That's why the people are coming together. That's why all over North Carolina folk are coming together, because they are saying, objection, you can't tell us this foolishness anymore. You can't tell us that this is the way we have to go. You can no longer tell us that there is a way to hurt them without hurting all of us. You can't hurt black people and not hurt all of us. You can't hurt gay people and not hurt all of us. You can't hurt poor people and not hurt all of us. You can't hurt rural people and not hurt all of us. You can't hurt urban people and not hurt all of us. We are all tied together. And because of that, we are all coming together. They can't debate us. Because how do you say, I just cut 500,000 people's unemployment, and 100,000 people's unemployment, and it was the moral thing to do? Doesn't even sound right. It's what I call linguistic trauma. So since they can't debate us, the governor called us outsiders.
Yeah.
They called us morons.
Yeah, they did.
They lied and said we're trying to take money. Everybody in NAACP worked for free. Nobody paid you to be out here today, did they?
Nope.
Civitas tried an old Mississippi song. Remember, they took all the arrestees and put our pictures on the internet with our names and where we worked and our home addresses. That's what they used to do in Mississippi in the 40s and 50s to try to keep black people from joining the NAACP. But their own study backfired on them because when they put it up on the internet and did the tally, it proved that 98% of the people were from North Carolina and 26 of them weren't even Democrats. See, God has a way. And every time they hit us, we get stronger. Now, we don't measure our success by polls, but isn't it interesting that in a recent poll, PPP poll, they asked North Carolinians, do you approve or disapprove of the job the General Assembly is doing? 54% disapproved, and only 24% approved. That's less than 1 out of 4. Do you support the budget passed by the General Assembly? Only 33% supported it, 52% of North Carolinians said no. And then they said, what do you think about the people protesting the General Assembly and the government? And the reality is the protesters got 47%. 15% are not sure because they haven't been here yet. So God has fixed it so that the Moral Monday movement is more popular than the entire leadership of the General Assembly. Somebody. We are. And so we come now in North Carolina in a new moment in history where we are required once again, like they did in the early 1900s, black and white together, to lift every voice and sing. Till earth and heaven ring, to ring with the harmonies of liberty. We have come together to face the rising sun of our new day begun, and we're going to march on until victory has won. We come from a people. They sang, and by faith they refused to give in. They sang and they believed that America would be America. We come from a people that sang and believed the South would not forever be bound by the shackles of hatred and discrimination. They sang and organized their lawyers. They sang and kept the faith despite being beat. They sang and kept the faith and went to the courts and went to the streets and went to the pulpits, believing that someday things would change. They sang, and by faith they won at the Supreme Court in '54. They sang and they prayed and they moved presidents, Republicans and Democrats, to do the right thing for the nation. Right here in North Carolina, they sang and they had faith and they raised up governors like Terry Sanford who would take on the regressive South. They sang, and by faith they believed that wrong only has temporary occupation. And this, my friends, is our calling once again today. Yes, we've seen this immoral and regressive legislature in 180 days try to turn this state 180 degrees in the wrong direction. And yes, my friends, what they have done is mean, is hurtful, is wrong. But don't you forget who you are.
All right.
We are children of a movement, of a multiracial, multicultural movement, a movement of deep faith and vision and constitutional values. We are the descendants of a movement that has always fought back. And now it's our calling. The mantle has fallen on us in this moment of history to stand up one more time. Touch your neighbor and say, the mantle is on you to stand up one more time. And once again, we've got to move by faith. We've been here before, but we are the sons and daughters of justice and freedom down through history that have always beat back every odds. We are the sons and daughters of those who had hope when hope unborn had died. We are the sons and daughters of those who refuse to become drunk with the wine of the world, the wine of racism, the wine of injustice, and the wine of inequality. Now I tell you, y'all, it won't be an easy fight. But God knows it's going to be a fight. As long as you and I got breath in our body, it's going to be a fight. And you better tell these legislators in Moore County, tell the governor and Tillis and Berger, tell even Pope, we're not for sale. You can't buy the citizenry of North Carolina. And don't make no mistake, this is not a momentary hyperventilation or a momentary protest. This is a movement, and we intend to turn this state around. Yes, our governor's on the wrong side of history. But there always comes a day when people rise up, and this is that day. There always comes a day, as my grandmama used to say, when right wins out over wrong. And this is the beginning of that day. There always comes a day, that, like the Jewish writer in Psalm said, when he said in Psalm 118, I called on the Lord in my distress. Yes. And the Lord answered me, set me in a broad place. And the Lord helped me in the midst of all my troubles. And then the writer of Psalm 118 said, talking about a new day, he said the stone that the builders rejected have become the chief cornerstone. And this was the Lord's doing. And then he says in verse 23, this is the day that the Lord has made. And I came to announce, when I see you out there, when I see black and white standing together, when I see young and old standing together, when I see us in Southern Pines and Moore County coming together with all the tapestry of North Carolina, this is the day that the Lord has made. God has brought us together. The abuse and the pain of this legislature has brought us together. The zeitgeist, what the German theologians had called it, have brought us together. The Great Spirit, as my Native American relatives would say, has brought us together. The stones that the builders rejected are coming together. The people that this legislator have rejected are coming together. The people that this governor has rejected are coming together. This is the day that the Lord has made. And all we want is for North Carolina to do right. As I close, look around. Look around and see the beauty. Look around, take a moment, and remember who you are. I know who they are. I know what they've done. But look around and see your strength. Look around and see your power. People you may not have known before this day, sitting together. All races. Look around, all creeds, all colors, all sexualities, all communities, all income. This is the day the Lord has made. And so, my friend, let us prove again that what men mean for evil, God can work to good. Let us prove again that when the stones that the builders rejected come, we can build a new society. Let us prove again that North Carolina can be a state where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great. Let us prove again that when the Lord is with you, no weapon formed against you will prosper. Let us prove again that out of one blood God has made all people. Let us prove again. Look around and see. I told him when I was in Raleigh that this is the day we remind the governor that you weren't elected to be a bully. Being elected doesn't give you the authority to be a bully, but if you want to be one, the people have veto power over the bully. It's called the ballot box. This is the day that we say to Governor McCory and Tillis and Berger, don't you know George Wallace lost? Don't you know Lexter Matters won? Why would you want to go backwards in history and be on the wrong side of history? This is the day that we say to this power-drunk extreme legislature, justice will prevail over your trickery. And at best, all you have is temporary power. This is the day that we say there's a better way. All of our children can be educated. Do you believe that? All of our sick can have health insurance. Do you believe that? All of our workers can be protected. Do you believe that? All of the poor can be lifted. Do you believe that? We can provide jobs for our people. Do you believe that? And all people, regardless of their race, their creed, their color, their lifestyle, can be respected. This is the day we refuse to go backwards. This is the day that we say forward together, not one step back. So, Linda, meet me on the stage here, because I need to have a conversation with you. So, Madam President, I stopped by to tell you, I've been all over the state, been everywhere, until this McCurry and Berger thought they could do wrong and get away with it. But instead of depressing us, they've made us determined to fight. Instead of defeating us, they have made us defiant. I think they messed up. I think they reached too far. Instead of dividing us, they have united us. My brother with the red shirt, he got it. Instead of scaring our lawyers, they have made our lawyers more committed to wage a legal battle. Instead of discouraging young people, they have put a fire in them, and they've raised up a new generation of young people to stand up against extremism. Instead of them doing their dirt in the darkness, the whole world can see what they're doing. Instead of making themselves more popular, less than 1 out of 4 North Carolinians agree with them, and Moral Monday is the talk of the nation and the talk of the world. Instead of keeping rabbis and imams and preachers in the pulpits, they have stirred men and women of faith until now we are in the street, and we don't intend to go back until justice happens. Instead of making us go home and cry and act depressed, they made us for 12 straight weeks, 84 days, pray together, sing together, go to jail together. And here we're at the 17th Moral Monday here in Moore County, and it doesn't look like there's any stopping us anytime soon. And so this is the day that we will stand up again, from Asheville to Nags Head, from Moore County to Manteo, from Elizabeth City to Wilmington, from Greensboro to Charlotte, from the I-40 corridor to the back roads of southeastern North Carolina, from Raleigh to Rockingham. We will fight. We will fight. We will fight. This is the day that we refuse to bow our heads and allow our spirits to be broken. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will work in this day until we reach that promise of being one nation, one state, one people, one community under God, with liberty and justice for all. And when we get there, we can all shout together. When we get there, we can all say hallelujah together. When we get there, we can all join hands together, and we will be able to say, what a day. What a day. What a day. When we all get together. What a day.
Well, the only thing that we did wrong, we stayed in the wilderness a little too long. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. But the only thing that we did right, we started to fight for our equal rights. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on. Hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on, hold on, hold on. long.